Ladies and gentlemen, it is official. We have two new weapons coming to Where Winds Meet. Finally. On the right side of the screen, you're going to see a letter directly from the development team, and I'll go ahead and highlight this one portion right here that calls out that there is a new martial art coming soon known as Bamboocut Dust. In case you guys don't already realize, Bamboocut Dust includes two unique new weapons. That includes the Everspring Umbrella and the Unfettered Rope Dart. Both of these are brand new to the game and are pretty unique in regards to the best ways to actually use them. In today's video, we're going to be highlighting both of these two new weapons on when you can actually use them, what they're good for, and actually seeing some visuals on what they actually look like in combat. Before doing so, if you guys enjoyed the video or the channel itself, consider hitting that like button and subscribing for some more Where Winds Meet content. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the first one, which is the Everspring Umbrella. Luckily for us, even though these two new weapons are not in the global version of the game yet, we can still get a good idea of the skills and the visuals associated with each. For example, if you go ahead and open your main menu and go to Sects, and then over to the Sect menu, you'll be able to see all of the different sects available. If you select the Velvet Shade and click Ultimates, you're then going to be able to actually get some more details around the Everspring Umbrella. First things first, it calls out three different skills: the Cyclone Waltz, the Dreamwrought Bubbles, and the Scarlet Spin. So let's just go ahead and take a closer look at the first one, which is the Cyclone Waltz, where it looks like you visually will be riding the umbrella and dishing some overall damage. Here's the description as well, and again, you guys can actually jump on your games today and read these from yourselves if you want, but long story short, essentially it's an AoE attack where it can deal continuous damage to nearby enemies and even pull them into a large group, which could be great if you pair it with another weapon that has an additional big AoE burst. It's important to call out too that when a Phantom Umbrella exists, you can cast the Cyclone Waltz to swap positions with it. The Phantom Umbrella lasts 5 seconds, and then you can just swap back by casting it again. So that's pretty interesting as well, and something just to keep in mind. Next up, we have the Dreamwrought Bubbles. This is where you charge and throw the actual umbrella itself, and you can see in the visual it comes right back to you, which is pretty cool. And it's kind of like a boomerang, it seems like, where you can hit the target twice, one on the way to the target and one on the way back. This is where it generates the Phantom Umbrella that we spoke about before, which has some nice kind of internal combos associated with the umbrella, the Everspring Umbrella. So for example, you can use Dreamwrought Bubbles and then get a little bit closer and close the gap and move into Cyclone Waltz to dish off tons and tons of damage. I can see this being very, very helpful in like fort fights or open world PvE content and things like that. Even large scale guild versus guild battles, I can see some potential as well, depending on how much you can ramp up the damage output. Next up, we have the Scarlet Spin attack. Similar to the previous one, except a little bit more attack speed. You are throwing that umbrella and you've got some good range. It seems like after you cast a skill, you gain the Flower Burial effect for 12 seconds. During this effect, Fading Crimson does not regenerate naturally. Instead, while in the Flower Burial state, consuming one Fading Crimson allows you to throw one returning umbrella, dealing damage twice. So essentially, you have to kind of keep in mind these different states across all of the different skills to really maximize the overall damage output of the Everspring Umbrella. But long story short, it seems like it's definitely a very PvE friendly weapon, and depending on some of the specifics, I can see it being useful in kind of large scale PvP, but only time will tell when it comes to that. Next up, we have the second weapon that we talked about, which let's see where exactly this is. I think it's actually under 9 Mortal Ways. Yep, the Unfettered Rope Dart. So this is a little bit different than the Rope Dart we know today, which has kind of like the rats and really helps and supports light attack damage with twin blades and things like that. This one's very, very different. So to be specific, let's first talk about Soul Sweep. As you use this ability, it looks like that you will enter a new state known as the Soulbound state, which applies a special enhancement to your rope dart, and then unleash 3 hits of sweeping attacks. When the skill ends, you automatically start charging, and the next charge skill, Soul Sweep, will also grant you the Soulbound state. You also gain tenacity in non-arena modes, so again, very useful in PvE scenarios, not exactly one-on-one PvP kind of situations. And it seems like there's a whole new resource known as Soulbound that you will have to keep in mind. This is pretty interesting because it is kind of similar to kind of like how you could previously summon rats with light attacks, except this one is a little bit different, and visually it actually looks pretty cool too. Next up, we have Burn and Bury, which is the special skill. And this is a bit unique one because we have to keep in mind the different effects that our target has. So it calls out that if a nearby enemy is affected with soul break or soul loss from you, snap your fingers and launch fire sparks and damage the enemy. There's higher damage output against targets with soul break, and you can slow them, which honestly sounds very, very useful in PvE and PvP content. So it will be pretty interesting in regards to different combos you can kind of set up with that movement slow and also that burst damage. Again, there's a lot here, so I do recommend you guys either pausing the video or jumping online your own account and taking a closer look at it. But I do think that you can actually pair this weapon with even some weapons outside of the Bamboocut Dust martial art to really have some disgusting combos in regards to overall damage output and crowd control. And then we've also got the charging stance. Once you enter the charging stance, you gain tenacity for the duration. The number of the tokens of gratitude you possess determines the length of the charge skill. You gain different effects, of course, based on the charge duration, just like the previous one. So if you're charging for 1.5 seconds, the next charge skill, Soul Sweep, right here, will become empowered and is more likely to cause greater hit stagger with each hit. If you hold it for 3 seconds, you can slowly recover HP up until the charge ends. And then if you hold it for 4.5 seconds, you can slowly recover some chi until the charge stance ends as well. So in PvP scenarios, I highly recommend that you start arena fights with this charging stance for 1.5 seconds, and then just start focusing on dishing off your light attacks and abilities here. I do want to call out too that if you are low on health and there is a big space or a big gap between you and your target, consider holding that charging stance mid-battle, honestly, for 3 seconds to regain some health. You'd be surprised based on your opponent on how many situations where they'll actually kind of let you have a few seconds to recoup. And this is the ideal kind of scenario to kind of hold this stance for a bit further when it comes to PvP content. If this is PvE content, then once again, create some space between you and the mobs or the boss that you're fighting because it can help your overall survivability and damage output. And again, that kind of covers it in regards to these 2 new weapons. Stay tuned because there certainly will be more information about these coming soon, but I hope it is enough to kind of give you a small taste of what you can expect from each of them. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, consider hitting that like and subscribe button and let me know in the comments below your thoughts on these 2 new weapons coming next month in March for Where Winds Meet. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you guys later.